The Atlanta Braves crushed the dreams of the Philadelphia Phillies in Game 1, and the Phillies have now lost 10 straight games, and it's only April. So, I don't know if Christmas has come early, but the Mets lost 12 straight. The Phillies have lost 10 straight and counting. I mean, it's kind of shaping up to be a fantastic year. Let's talk about it. So, the Braves tonight, they are the best team in baseball by record. They are the best team in baseball by run differential. They're the best team in baseball by a number of different hitting and pitching categories. They are not only winning baseball games, they are making their opponents look foolish. And tonight was a night where I thought Atlanta didn't necessarily have it. They didn't show up off the bus, if you will. Coming off a long road trip, it's the first game home. They haven't had an off day in about a week at this point. So, Philadelphia, they're coming in. They're ticked off. They just got walked off by Dansby Swanson, of all people, yesterday. So, they're giving you their best effort. And something that really stuck out to me was this is a game that Atlanta loses last year because Philadelphia would have made the same mistakes, and they made several tonight, and I mentioned this in the Washington series. These Braves are absolutely able to smell blood in the water. Whenever their opponent makes a mistake, they pounce, and they absolutely make their opponent pay for the mistake to the best of their ability. So it might not happen every time, but if you are doing what the Phillies did tonight and giving the Braves just multiple opportunities to mount a comeback against you, they are going to do it. If you make a mistake managerial-wise, you leave your young pitcher out like Andrew Painter got left out tonight for an inning too long, and the Braves make you pay. You make an error, and Dom Smith is able to reach. The Braves make you pay. And that killer instinct is something the Braves have been lacking. They have not had it since 2023. Even in 2024, when they went on stretches where they were pretty good, they didn't have this. They just were overwhelming people with their talent. And this is really good to see. Of just even nights where you slept on the wrong side of the bed, get up, and you're not feeling it, you still have a chance to win every single night because, not just because of talent. I mean, obviously your pitching staff is fantastic, your offense is really good, and somebody is going to be clicking basically night in, night out. But you, as a team, even when nights where you don't have it, you can punish your opponent for making a mistake. And I think that is very powerful, and it makes the Braves very hard to play against. Even if you are one of the most talented teams in baseball, look, the Phillies are. The Phillies are in a really rough spot right now, and they've buried themselves in the division. But that does not mean they are without talent. Same thing with the Mets. So, after this one, the Braves moved to 19-8 on the season. The Marlins in second place in the NL East still. They are playing a series out west at Oracle Park. And the Marlins are 6 games back of the Nats, or of the Braves. The Nats 8 games back now of Atlanta after losing 3 of 4. The Mets 9.5 back, the Phillies 10.5 back. So if the Braves can win the next 2, they could essentially bury the Phillies 12.5 games back before the end of April. That would be unheard of coming into the season. If I had said that to someone, they would have thought I was on drugs for multiple reasons. But definitely because I said, hey, you know the team that is the favorite to win the division, betting-wise? They're going to be 12.5 back of the Atlanta Braves, the third in the division, who have just not had it the last 2 years. And I think a lot of people would have called me crazy. So, no one expected quite this result to start the season. But let's talk about it in detail. So, Grant Holmes got the start tonight for Atlanta, and he really did a good job, I thought. So, something that Grant Holmes has struggled with is he'll get into an inning where he just has a blow-up inning. And sometimes he can manage it, and sometimes he has trouble and has to be pulled. And an Aaron Bummer or a Dylan Lee has to come in and mop up his mess, which so far they've been pretty effective at doing. But tonight, we look and, well, first let's just start out with Grant Holmes' line. He gave you 6 innings tonight. I think that was very important. J.R. Ritchie gave you some length yesterday, but you're still kind of recovering from the 3-inning start of Didier Fuentes and then having to use Martin Perez up. You're kind of reeling with some injuries right now on the back end of the bullpen, so it's nice to just get a little bit of length out of a guy that hasn't really given it to you so far this year. So Grant Holmes gives you 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs. This is where it kills you, though. 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, 2 home runs given up. So something, like I already mentioned, that Grant Holmes has trouble with is coming through the second time through an order. And through the first 2 innings, and this is to the first 7 hitters, he only allows the 1 base runner. Is a single for Bryson Stott. But then as soon as he gets into the third, he's facing the bottom of the lineup in Trey Turner. Justin Crawford flies out, but Garrett Stubbs in relief for JT Realmuto, who is who is on the IL now with back spasms. So Garrett Stubbs, he singles off of you, and then Trey Turner gets to hit a home run into the stands. And Trey Turner on a generational slump for his mark. I think they said he was 1 for 28 or something coming into this game. So he gets the monkey off his back. He gets a home run off Holmes. Holmes then kind of has a mini meltdown where he walks Kyle Schwarber, gets the strikeout of Harper. So actually, I think 3 of his strikeouts tonight were of Bryce Harper. I do know, at least this early in the game, his first 2 strikeouts were both of Bryce Harper, which made the crowd in Atlanta very happy. But Adolis Garcia singles, and suddenly you've got men on the corners with Brandon Marsh up to bat. And you get him to fly out, but the point still stands. And we'll get to the Braves offense in a little bit, but this kind of continued. Stott flies out, boom, walk. Crawford, fielder's choice. But Garrett Stubbs, once again, making you pay. And then Trey Turner walks. So you have the bases loaded for Kyle Schwarber, not a guy you want to have the bases loaded for. Even when the Braves swept the Phillies, Kyle Schwarber gave you problems with the home run ball. Grant Holmes, though, able to get out of this inning before he gave up another run despite loading the bases. And then to start the very next inning, he did give up that home run ball, this time to Bryce Harper. So that one went 389. It was 104 off the bat. So definitely an earned one. And then another base runner reaches, Brandon Marsh. But outside of that tonight, he finally finishes off with a 1-2-3 6th inning. So he battled the entire night through to get through this Phillies lineup that, despite their slump, they're still dangerous, top to bottom. I mean, Stubbs, as filling in, he's not going to be a quality at-bat necessarily, but he's pesky. I mean, he had the 2 hits tonight for a reason. So he's definitely a major league capable player. He's a glue guy, as they described on the radio broadcast. And Holmes, able to get you 6. I think you have to consider where this pitching rotation is going to lie in 3 weeks. With J.R. Ritchie has got to stay in this rotation, I think. Unless he just goes out next time and blows it up. But Spencer Strider will be back. You don't have to rush him back, but he will be back by 3 weeks from now, barring something catastrophic happening. I'm going to knock on this wood desk that's in front of me. And, I mean, Didier Fuentes is lurking. You're going to have Hurston Waldrop and Spencer Schwellenbach begin to throw off a mound or get rehab assignments here in the next month and a half-ish. So you've got to start to consider where guys like a Reynaldo Lopez, a Grant Holmes, a Martin Perez, even a Bryce Elder, as good as he's been this year, where they fit on this team. And I think all 4 of those guys have a roster spot on this team. The only question for me is whether that is in a starting role every 5 days, or if they're better suited as a come out of the pen, give me an inning or 2. and you throw every other night rather than every 5 games. I think that, especially like Martin Perez is a long reliever, and I think Grant Holmes' stuff, if you give him more shorter opportunities, I think that stuff will play out of the pen. But we'll see. And that's not a decision for me to make. That's a decision for Alex Anthopoulos and Walt Weiss. And so far, they've hit every single lever that a Braves fan would want them to hit. Outside of like some of the they didn't spend the money. But I mean, the decisions that they actually have made have been good ones. And a lot of the players that they were going to go after with some of the money that is now just sitting, waiting for a deadline acquisition, have not panned out. They've dodged some bullets. So, and the Braves are the best team in baseball because of it. Speaking of the best in baseball, Ronald Acuna Jr. with his second home run of the year. This was a majestic shot into the second deck right above the Phillies bullpen. And this was to answer. This was to answer the Trey Turner 2-run homer. And then all the pressure that got put on Grant Holmes. And the Braves, Eli White singles. He was a late addition to this lineup after Michael Harris was scratched about an hour and a half before game time, I think. And Ronald Acuna Jr., home run, 106 off the bat, was a home run in every stadium, 410. So, if we're going to look at his Baseball Savant page, which I know I'm not the only one who is, there's not as much bright red as you would expect looking at Acuna's in previous years. But just looking at stuff that the expected numbers, most of it's there. His bat speed is still going up. And eventually you just have to think a baseball player of Ronald Acuna's caliber has got to put it all together at some point. Hopefully tonight is the start of that for Acuna. But a really good sign. He hit a home run, and he put together several good at-bats tonight. His finishing line, he's just 1 for 3, but he did walk twice. So he was very selective with the pitches that he actually saw. And the Phillies, for their credit, wanted nothing to do with him. They actually seemed to figure something out against Drake Baldwin, because Drake Baldwin, 0 for 5 with a strikeout tonight. He did make some hard contact outs, but very interesting that they decided to pick on Baldwin rather than pitch to Acuna, which is what, coming into the season everyone would say to do, but with the way they've played so far, it's actually kind of been more of the opposite. Attack Acuna and figure it out with Baldwin later. But you can't do that with Matt Olson right behind him, because Matt Olson is also a really, really bad man. So let's talk about the decision. Walt Weiss had to scratch Michael Harris. He left the game yesterday with quad tightness. It was labeled as precaution. Michael said he would go today. They listed the lineup. Michael was the cover on the lineup. His picture was right there. He was giving people high fives. Everyone said, yes, Money Mike's back. He's on a heater. And then an hour and a half, 2 hours before game time, you get the tweet come across your thing. Mine was actually from Grant McCauley, not the Braves. It's the first one I saw. Michael Harris II has been scratched today with quad tightness. So my theory that he had to poop yesterday was not correct. And everyone collectively had an oh shoot moment, because Money Mike this is the best he's played in his entire career. This last week, since he's become a dad, he has looked like the player that the 99 percentile of a Braves dream whenever he won that Rookie of the Year, of what he could turn into. This is what you pictured with Money Mike. I actually saw a really funny tweet of, we're way past Money Mike. This is Scrooge McDuck just diving in to gold coins level of Mike. And I thought that was basically what summed it up. He has not missed a pitch that is in the zone in the last week. He is 100% against any pitch in the zone. You cannot do it. If you pitch out of the zone, he'll either take it or he will hit it for hard contact And it sucked that he was not playing tonight. Until the Braves have one of those innings where I said they just make you pay. So the Braves are down 3-2. And coming into the game, Austin Riley, Dominic Smith, Mauricio Dubon are up. Riley, hard line out, but still an out. Dominic Smith, this one was a very weird ball. It was the first of two, actually, tonight, where he hit it back to Painter. Painter barely got a glove on it, but it didn't really deflect it at all. And Stott is sitting there at second base. Turner is coming across the diamond. He had the better angle on the ball, and they kind of just, neither of them call it. So the just sheer second of confusion. Dominic Smith, not a really great runner, but he's hustling down the line safe. Mauricio Dubon draws a walk. So you have 2 on with 1 out. Mike Yastrzemski flies out. So you're thinking in the back of your head, if you're a Phillies fan, Andrew Painter's going to get out of this because he has to face Eli White. Very bottom of the order. We'll take Acuna next time. We'll bring one of our good relievers out of the bullpen to face the top of the lineup. And then they're going to talk on the mound to Painter just to give him a second. And you hear Truist Park on the broadcast go crazy. Walt Weiss has done it. He has used the ace in his sleeve. Michael Harris II, despite being scratched, you don't need to run. We just need your bat. And he stood in there and delivered a fantastic off the bat, a fantastic just, you haven't seen a pitch all night? Well, it doesn't matter. So kudos for Walt Weiss, just absolute managerial masterclass. Like, you can go win the game right here, or at least take the lead. Go put in your best hitter over the past week. Even though he's hurt, he can have an at-bat, and we can substitute Mateo in. We can move Dubon to center. So Dubon's versatility is fantastic, because since you can move him all over the diamond, it allows you to make decisions like this. Brian Snitker, for as much as people like to clown on him a little bit for how timid he was at times, the lineup was not constructed in a way with the versatility that this lineup is. You can plug and play Dubon anywhere on the diamond, and there are other players on this team that can play multiple positions. So it does give you the versatility on a day off for Michael Harris, or a day off for Austin Riley or Ronald Acuna Jr., that they can come in and pitch hit, and they don't have to get back up on their feet. It is very nice to do. So let's actually talk about Money Mike further. This at bat, they go to Painter. They give him the book. Hey, Michael's hitting everything, but in the past, you can throw balls he will chase, especially outside or in the dirt. Ball 1, curveball in the dirt, outside. Mike's not budging. Bat ain't coming off the shoulder. This was a fastball high into the outside. Michael's not even studying it. And finally, they threw him a fastball just low of the zone, and Michael just golfed this one into left center field. Got over the head of the outfielder. I think that was Brandon Marsh. And Michael ends up on second, does his dance. That was the go-ahead. Double. He scored both Smith and Dubon. Michael gets pinch ran for by Mateo. You put Mateo at short. Dubon able to go out to center. And Michael Harris. You gotta love him. But I don't know what else to say from what else I've already said about Michael Harris and how he is just evolved. I do have photo evidence, and so if it actually becomes relevant later on, I will share it. I think about 3 weeks before the season, I was talking with a good buddy of mine who's an Angels fan, but he likes the Braves. He's a Braves National League fan. And we were talking about Michael Harris, and I said, I'm looking at what he's doing in spring training. I would, if I was allowed to bet, I'm not allowed to bet because I'm a Georgia resident, and also I work for a minor league baseball team. You're not allowed to bet on any form of baseball, which is kind of unfortunate because, I don't have insider information, but it is what it is. I would bet just, $10 on Michael Harris to win the MVP. I think that he is going to actually break out this year. And my friend said, well, yeah, but we say this every year about Michael. Until he can actually stop chasing and draw walks, he's not going to be anything more than a gold glove caliber center field. And he's not going to win a gold glove if he can't stay on the field. So we've yet to see him play a full 162. And, we still haven't. We're only, 28 games into the season? So we've got a long way to go to reach that mark, but he is not walking at an average rate. He's chasing more than the average hitter. The difference is he is laying off of the really bad stuff. He's not, if you just insist on walking him, he will allow you to walk him. It's not like in years past where he feels the need that he has to swing and everything. And so that's a big deal. So you can't just throw him waste pitches. You have to make it somewhat close. And if it's somewhat close this year, he's making contact and making hard contact with it. So you can't throw just around the zone and he's going to miss because he can only hit inside the zone. His hand-eye's gotten better. He's hitting the ball harder than I think pretty much everybody. I think there's 5 or 6 guys in the National League that are hitting the ball consistently harder than Michael Harris. And I think 2 are on this team. I think it's Drake Baldwin and Matt Olson, and then Shohei Ohtani. So really good company to be in for Michael Harris. And he's raised his batting average even further. He's at 326, 944 OPS. That's tied for second on the team, OPS-wise. But my goodness, Michael Harris. What else can you say? Stud. And he's going to cool off. But I think that his base level this year is much better than even his best year, which was his Rookie of the Year season in 2022. I think he will be very good down the stretch as long as he can stay healthy. And if he bats like this, there's a very good chance that he'll put himself in conversations for some of those awards that we've talked about him winning that I know he aspires to win. He wants to be an all-star. He's never been an all-star. He wants to be an all-star. If he keeps playing like this, he'll be starting in Philadelphia, which is a place he loves to play. At the end of the year, if he can stay healthy, he keeps doing this, he'll win a Gold Glove and probably a Silver Slugger. And if he keeps hitting like this, the Braves are going to be in a position to do something that they've never done under Michael Harris. Or with Michael Harris on the team. Because he joined, the year after they won the World Series. He had to buy his own way to the World Series. So, kudos to Michael. I think that's a good place to wrap it for there. We go to Game 2 tomorrow. Like I mentioned, the Phillies have lost 10 straight. So who do they call the wheelman? Zach Wheeler making his season debut tomorrow for Philadelphia. Obviously, no stats on the season, but he does kill Atlanta. Atlanta recently kind of gotten to him a little bit more, but he's been very good. He's coming off of that surgery. He had his rib removed. He kept the rib, and he keeps it in a closet at his house. Absolute psychopath. Has been probably a top 5 pitcher in the National League when healthy the last 3 seasons. It's him, Sale, Skeens, and that's your top 3, I think, over the past 3 seasons. He has been fantastic. So hopefully he'll be on a little bit of a short leash tomorrow, but he'll be facing, statistically at least, the Braves' best pitcher. Bryce Elder will be getting the start. He's 3-1 on the season, 1.50 ERA, 29 strikeouts, and importantly, the Phillies have not seen this revamped Bryce Elder yet. They have not seen how he utilizes the cutter, and I'm just very excited to see how he does against Philadelphia, a team that has historically kind of hit him around. So, Phillies looking to break the slump, but they're 8-18. The Braves trying to go for 20 wins before the Phillies get to 10. So they'll have 2 tries to do it. And I think that's as good of a place as any to call it for the night. So filming this very late, but I think I wanted to write down some of my thoughts and then watch the NFL draft a little bit. But it's a good time. It's a really good time for Atlanta sports. The Braves are an absolute wagon. The Hawks up 2-1 on the Knicks after 2 thrilling finishes in MSG and State Farm. The Falcons, I think, made some good picks here on day 2. And you don't really have at least instant regret on that number 13 pick that the Rams made. And, hey, there might be a hockey team, an NHL hockey team coming here soon. And not to mention, I mean, Georgia and Georgia Tech baseball, both top 5 in the country, both top 10 at least in the country. Though I'd love to see a rematch in Omaha, though I do think Tech probably would whoop them. So very, very good time to be a Georgia sports fan, to be an Atlanta sports fan. So it's not often that as an Atlanta sports fan you get to be truly happy. There's nothing bugging you. And this is one of the few times in my life I can remember being like, wow, sports-wise, I don't have any complaints. There is nothing right now that I'm mad at. And that's a good feeling. So, to all my Atlanta fans out there, cheers to you. Oh, you gotta drink it after the cheers. My bad. Cheers to you. And let's keep winning. It's more fun that way. Until tomorrow, I'm Cayden. Peace out and chop on.